Hey y'all, good to see you again here on Grassroots Gardening. I'm Ryan, and today we are going to pot up a variegated Monstera albo. You see that little guy right there? We're going to throw him in this pot, and what I want to do is, instead of using a moss pole, we're going to use a piece of driftwood. I saw it down at TPIE in Tampa with our friends at Arrowhead Greenhouses. Had a really cool mount of an albo. And the birds, although I just fed them, they're going to be loud because they love to video bomb me during my videos. So you'll just have to bear with it. It's kind of life in the jungle. So anyway, we're going to roll our sleeves up now. Let's get this thing in a pot and let's try to use this driftwood as a moss pole versus a standard moss pole. So just real quick before we get started, I'll show you guys some of the stuff that we're going to use. And also, if you'll click in the description, all these stuff will be listed too. You can find most of it on Amazon. And we sell all the stuff here at Grassroots as well. This is the little Monstera that we're going to be potting up. It's very well rooted in this little clear container. It's been in our propagation area, and it has a nice aerial root already, or two. I see one going actually down into the soil. So a nice healthy root system. And we're going to pot it up today in some of this espoma. This is just kind of a general purpose potting mix, but it does have the mycorrhizae in it, which helps our root systems. It's got earthworm castings, just a really good all organic potting mix. Then I've got some hydroton. This is just your expanded clay pebbles. This will help aerate the soil and give the roots something to cling on to. And then here we have the cocoa coir chips. Now this is not cocoa coir, like the real fine stuff that holds a lot of water. This is the larger chips. So this will help with drainage, and you know, it will retain some moisture as well, but just really help bulk up the soil. We're going to throw a little Osmocote in there. That's some extended release fertilizer that'll feed for about 6 months. And of course, you know, we don't plant anything without using our biotone starter. And then I thought it might look cool if we use some of these lava rocks, just as kind of a top dressing to cover the soil and to maybe help hold our driftwood in place too. So we're going to start here just by kind of checking the depth to see where we want this in the pot. And we always want to leave, you know, like at least an inch up here without any, you know, anything in it. That way when we pour our water in, it's not just going to run over the side of the pot. So I think we will wind up with him somewhere in about that range right there. So I can go ahead and let's go ahead and mix up our soil. I'm just going to do it in the pot versus out here on the table because it's not that big of a pot and I don't think it'll take too much time. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe fill my pot up a little over halfway. I'm going to add my hydroton in. We're going to add some of these cocoa chips, something about like that right there. Then we could even go ahead and take our Osmocote and just go ahead and sprinkle a couple of tablespoons in there. That way the fertilizer gets distributed evenly throughout the whole pot. And then we're going to get our biotone opened up right here. And we're going to actually apply the biotone directly to the roots. So let's go ahead and pop this guy out. Take a look at his root system. It looks nice and healthy. Oh yeah, we got all those nice fat roots. And you can see, looks like a little bit of mycorrhizae is already attaching itself to the roots because this one has biotone in it from when I previously potted it up. And so what we want to do is just kind of break up this root ball, get those roots loose so they can head out in all different directions of the pot. And I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. What we need to do too first is go ahead and mix in all of our ingredients, reaching all the way down to the bottom of the pot, flipping it over a whole bunch and getting it nice and mixed up. And there's Larry hollering because that's just Larry. So get all that stuff good and mixed up. And then before I apply my biotone, I'm just going to kind of check the depth. And I kind of like that. I think that's going to work out perfect. So now what we got to do is go ahead and see how much of this driftwood we want sticking up out of the pot. Obviously we want to try to have as much as possible, because that'll just give us some further, rooting surface for the Monstera to attach to, but we don't want it falling over either. So I'm going to dig down a little bit, and I would be happy if we could get something about like that right there. I think that'll be about proportionate with this size pot. I just think that looks good right there. So we'll kind of, now that we're happy with the depth, we'll just kind of pack the soil around the driftwood. Just compact it so it doesn't fall over. Then I'm going to kick a little bit of this soil out of the way so that we can now take our Monstera, and he'll just go in there just like that. And then this aerial root, we're going to put a little sphagnum moss on it, on the driftwood, and that aerial root will find its way, grab hold, and latch on to this driftwood, and the driftwood can support the Monstera as it grows. So we'll take a little bit of our biotone plant starter. I'm just going to sprinkle it all over the root ball. And we're just going to simply push this guy down a little bit to the right depth that we want him. And I'm going to intentionally kind of aim that aerial root towards the driftwood, because as soon as it makes contact, that's when it can begin to affix or fasten itself onto the actual wood. We're going to need a little bit more soil now. Now I'm just going to come in here with straight espoma potting soil, because this will just be at the very top of the pot, and our other mixture with all of our cocoa chips and our hydroton can stay down in the root zone where it needs to be anyway. So this right now is just acting as a filler, but as you know, with the espoma products, it does have some organic fertilizer in it too, so every inch of this pot has got some good stuff for this Monstera to use as food and to grow nice and big and pretty. So we'll just kind of lightly tamp that soil in just like so, and I like how that looks, y'all. That's going to look really cool. And so what will happen again, these aerial roots will attach onto there, and as the aerial root comes out here, it'll grab on and so on and so on. And then eventually it'll support the entire plant. And then, once it gets to the top of it and it's getting out of control again, by that time it'll be time to go to a bigger pot anyway, and then we can go find another piece of driftwood or go back to a larger moss pole, whatever we need to do to support this plant. And I see a lot of talk too on the internet about this browning of the variegated leaf. It just happens. I think, honestly, in my experience, usually this happens with low humidity. Even though we're in the greenhouse, I don't know exactly where this Monstera was, to be honest, but the one I had in my office got it real bad, and it was super dry up there. Most of them are happy out here, but this just happens, unfortunately. You could take some scissors and trim that out, but unfortunately, just with the white variegated plants, in my experience, sometimes it just happens. But again, I think it's due to low humidity. Now we can come in here and just put a little bit of Osmocote on the top, just to ensure that it gets all the food that it needs, because that water is going to come in here, of course, and grab these nutrients and take them straight down to the root ball. But I like to mix it in too, just so there's food everywhere in the pot for the plant. And you could come in here too and tie, with some string or what have you, you could tie this limb to the driftwood to kind of get that aerial root a little bit closer. But I know this thing's going to take off and it's going to grab onto there. So I think we're pretty much done. We're just going to come in here now, and just for aesthetic purposes, add some of these lava chips. I've not used these before potting anything up. I just thought it would look cool and kind of contrast with the leaves too. So let's see what it looks like here in a second. Those aerial roots might even grab hold to these lava chips too and hang on to them. Whatever they touch, they will usually attach to. I've had them stick to metal, to wood, to sheetrock. They're really not picky what this little guy right here will grab hold to. I think the lava chips look pretty cool. What y'all think? Leave me a comment in the section below and tell me your thoughts on this whole project. I think it looks really cool, and Larry obviously thinks it looks cool because he's still squawking. But there you have it, guys. That is potting up a Monstera albo using some driftwood as the moss pole. And speaking of moss, I put some sphagnum in some water yesterday. So now what we can do is come in here, and to make it even look more natural and to encourage the aerial roots to grab hold, we can just take some sphagnum, and let me show you guys. Stick it there. You could come in here, even tuck some down in these little crevices in the wood. And that's how down at the show, the plant show, which I'll try to remember to throw a tag in there if y'all want to see some of the mounts that the pros did down in Florida. That's how they would do things, just to kind of make it look a little bit more natural. Just have this sphagnum just kind of hanging like so. And again, you know, if you keep that misted and moist, those aerial roots for sure will grab hold to that, and this thing will take off. I really like those lava chips in the pot. I think that looks cool. I like the color of this pot too, kind of a dark blue with some black in it. I like that. We might do that more often. And then the sphagnum, I think that just kind of sets it off. Really just makes a natural mount. We've got a new leaf. Look at the variegation. We've got some good genetics in our albos. We were fortunate enough to buy some really nice mother plants a long time ago, and we've just been propagating off of those. With just beautiful white splashing in there and splotching. This would be considered a highly variegated albo, especially this new leaf. I mean, that thing is just splotched all kind of up. And so we're going to be selling these here pretty soon. We almost got our shipping license, and I'm excited to be able to offer these. So if you want, probably the easiest way right now is to go to Grassroots Yard Supply on Facebook and just send us a message, because hopefully here in the next few weeks we'll be able to start shipping these beautiful Monstera albos all over the continental US. Now that we've got her all potted up, we're going to mix, I used about 1/2 teaspoon of Super Thrive to 1 gallon of water, and then we're just going to drench this thing and get all those soil particles situated down there. So we're just going to really pour the water to it, get it all settled in. This will also help hold in the driftwood, and go ahead and get those roots situated, make this thing happy, and it can do its thing. Here's the final result, guys. There's our albo and our nice new pot with our lava chips and our driftwood for a makeshift natural support. Once we put a price tag on this girl, I don't think she's going to last very long at all out here in the jungle greenhouse before somebody takes her home. That's just going to make a nice natural piece in somebody's living room or kitchen or wherever. Yeah, I agree, Larry. So there you go, guys. That's the final result. Let's go back here and see what in the world Larry is hollering about. Larry, you know I'm trying to make a video, right? Here's some more of our Monsteras, kind of our little Monstera table. One of the mother plants there. These are if you watched any of my videos, these are just one of my favorite plants, and we've got some really nice ones for sure. Larry, you know I'm trying to make a video, right? What's with all the squawking, dude? Are you gonna be quiet now? Of course, now you're gonna be quiet. He squawked the entire video, and then when it's your moment to shine, you clam up. And then Miss Scarlett. Hey, Miss Scarlett. What you doing today, babe? Just chilling out? It's a rainy, cold day today, so everybody's just kind of hanging out Sunday. The nursery's closed, so that's how we were able to come down here and have a little bit of peace and quiet and make the video. All right, guys, there you have it. That's how I pot up a Monstera albo. I think it's kind of cool to use that driftwood versus the old standard boring moss pole. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Always remember, the more you know, the more you grow. Appreciate you guys. See you on the next video, y'all.